The next question is from Chris. Well, Chris posted it from, I guess, the Facebook group. He says, the question was, I signed up for a lead generation course, Rank and Rent, about 2 years ago. They taught the basics okay, but their backlink strategies are weak. Copying competitors, blog comments, etc. Only work in low or no competition fields and have been a waste of time for the most part. I'm looking for some high quality backlink training, perhaps PBN setup that works in 2021 so that I can confidently rank sites in competitive niches and get all my lead generation sites to top of page one. Do you have any recommendations? Okay, yeah. First, I don't recommend doing PBNs, like setting them up yourself. It is incredibly difficult to do that properly now. It just takes a ton of work, and you have to be really, really good about, having diversified hosts and name servers, and it's very difficult to do it properly. So I don't recommend that. So here's the thing. What we teach absolutely works, especially for local. And even on the organic side, if you don't have GMB stuff, and I know that because I've spent the last 2 months, maybe 10 weeks, somewhere 8 to 10 weeks around there, really focusing on our organic stuff using our methods. And I can tell you without a doubt, it fucking crushes it, okay? The number one thing that you need to do is have entity-tuned content on your money site, period. Do that, and you use our SEO shield, which includes a syndication network, RYS, Drive Stack, and G Site, which you theme mirror your money site into that. So essentially your RYS, Drive Stack, and your G Site will have the same kind of structure that your money site does. And then your ID page, and powering those up. But here's the thing. You can go into each one of those tier one entity assets, and you can modify your link back to your money pages on your site with whatever appropriate anchor text ratios you need. And what I've been doing lately is I've been going through and looking at the top 10 competitors that are the same type of site. So for example, I do strictly local. So a lot of the sites on the top 10 organic competitors are going to be Home Advisor, Angie's List, Lawn Starter would be as a big one that is a competitor in my industry because I do tree service stuff. So I don't count those when I'm doing like backlink analysis and anchor text ratios. I just look at whatever other local business websites are ranked in the top 10 organic positions. And then I do kind of an average. And this is a method that I learned from a Matt Diggity blog post about just do an average of anchor text ratios and the type of anchor text categories. And again, you can go look this up on his blog, and it works well. But what I'm saying is what I've been finding, because for a long time, I didn't do any sort of research on this at all because of our methods. We never didn't need to, but I had focused strictly on maps ranking for the last several years. Recently, I've been working a lot on organic side of things and seeing incredible results. And the biggest things, like I said, entity tuned content. So SEO tuned content that's done properly. There's plenty of tools out there to do it. Then also, like I said, go through your tier one entity assets, the SEO shield assets essentially, and you can go through and modify the link backs to your homepage or the internal pages of your money site with the appropriate anchor text ratios using your tier one entity assets. If you need additional links or additional anchor text coming back, here's the thing. With the syndication network, you already have branded Web 2.0 assets. So go in, and here's where I've found a lot of really good success lately is going in, logging into each one of those like Blogger, Tumblr, WordPress. Those three alone are all that you really need. And publishing individual articles that are also SEO tuned or entity tuned articles with a very specific anchor text link pointing back to my money page so that I can get my anchor text ratios within average or within range of what the other competitors are. Doesn't matter how many links I have. All that matters is the anchor text ratios, getting it within the kind of same range as what the other competitors ranked on page one are. Then, so again, going in and I'm not talking about syndicating a blog post to your money site, which syndicates out to network. That's standard. We do that anyways. But I'm talking about going into like Blogger, Tumblr, and WordPress and publishing a separate article on each one of them. So individual unique article on each one of them that is also tuned, SEO tuned content. Then you can kind of modify or manipulate your anchor text ratios that way. And now you can do the same thing in your G site, by the way, and you should. Even like some of the Drive Stack files and stuff like that, you can do it with as well. But then you can just hammer the shit out of those tier one entity assets with kind of broader, topical anchor text. So that's without location modifiers, target anchor text with location modifiers. You can still hit them with brand anchor text, which is, I recommend that you do because they're still tier one entity assets. So here's the thing, like if you go publish a an article on just a Web 2.0 site out there that's just kind of a, an orphaned Web 2.0 site, or it's a persona-based profile or something like that, then it's a little bit odd to hit those posts with anchor text, branded anchor text, right? But when because it's odd, and that's not something that people typically would do, is hit a blog post on somebody's personal blog with a branded anchor text. A lot of times it's just kind of unnatural looking. But if you've got your branded syndication network, which you should have anyways, then it absolutely makes sense to hit a individual post on your branded syndication network properties with a branded anchor. And so again, what I've been finding, and I don't know what industry you're in, but specifically with tree services, as I've done a lot of research on organic rankings, is it's just insane to see how many tree service sites are ranked on page 1 organically with literally less than 10 links, like under 10 links. It's insane. And so it's really been almost unfair, the kind of gains that I've been getting in the last 2 months by just doing exactly what I just mentioned, which is going through our tier 1 entity assets that we set up, through the SEO Shield, manipulating my anchor text ratios to get, doesn't matter how many links my money site has, it just matters the anchor text ratios, because then I just pound the tier 1 entity assets with links, and that pushes all the power through even just a handful of links back to the money site. And I've been ranking pages organically like crazy. Stuff that was typically on page 3 or 4 because I didn't care about organic rankings for so long, now on page 1. Several of them within the top 5, and we're talking about over about an 8 to 10 week period. And I've been just methodically doing that for all the different pages that I've had. And it's been working like crazy. So believe it or not, link building for local sites, at least in my industry, is not that difficult. You just have to know a proper strategy. And I really just told you what it was. And that's my input. Marco, I know you probably have something different. You're muted.
Sorry, we're focusing more on content and schema.
Yeah.
And how we set up our link building targets, the way that we interlink that to push power. I mean, that's my focus, the foundational focus, and the way that we focus on the SEO side of this is to go after the distance graph and the ranking score algorithms, because what we're trying to build up is the best entity in the niche. And so when we're able to, once we're able to do that, then every other website is compared to yours rather than you being compared to some other website.
Good point.
Once you're there, then nothing else matters. Like I said, the updates don't matter. Nothing matters, because you are the entity that's compared, that all other entities are compared against. And how we do that, well, that's Heavy Hitter Club. We've shown, and as a matter of fact, we're doing something, a content webinar series where we're going to be covering all of these. We just started this past Monday, how you can focus your content and hyper tune your content. So it's not just one piece of software that's going to get you there. It's not just conversion AI. It's not just whatever else it is that you're going to use. It's not just inlinks. No, we're using 5 different pieces of software to fine tune that entity and to find additional entities and even entities that other software miss, to bring everything into play. Because when you can expand the entity, and maybe I'm getting a little too technical for people, because what we're doing is we're expanding the entity so that ours becomes, again, the one that everything else is compared to, because nobody else is expanding it the way we are. And then you can do the link building. You can actually do anything. Sometimes you don't even have to do link building now. Sometimes it's just schema and content that wins, of course, with the SEO Shield in place and everything else, which you can consider a type of link building. But that's what we're doing. So when you do that, it's unfair. Like you said, it's unfair. It's unfair because everybody else is fighting. Oh my God, we had a core update, we had a spam update. As a matter of fact, there was a core update, 2 spam updates, and a core update, supposedly. I don't know. I can't tell, because all my stuff always wins and comes out better in the end. But people are saying, they lost a ton of traffic. I've seen 10 to 15% traffic losses, and 10 to 15%, of course, when somebody loses, somebody wins. 10 to 15% traffic win. And all it is, you can get that traffic back through content. but through doing it correctly, which is what we're focusing on in the heavy hitter club. It's like I said, it's good times. It's good stuff happening, and it's fairly simple. Like you said, you're focusing on anchor text ratios and links, and of course that tuned content.
Yeah.
I can almost guarantee you that is that tuned content that's helping you win.
Oh, absolutely. There's no question. In fact, that's why I said, like, even if you're not doing as much anchor text or link building analysis or backlink analysis and stuff as I'm doing, what Marco just said is absolutely true. And that's why I preface, like, entity tune content is the number one most important thing. That and schema, as Marco said, there's no question. And so on your money side, you can do entity tune content plus your schema, right? Then you're throughout all your tier one entity assets, you can do the same thing. So you get your G site back from the RYS drive stack, the SEO shield, and go in and tune that content, right? You go tune the content on those. And if you're theme mirroring, which you should be, right? Mirroring your site structure on your G site, you want to entity tune all of the pages, the mirrored pages on your site too. And that's what I'm doing, and it's working incredibly well. And then, like I said, the same thing goes for the blogs in the syndication network. You can go through and publish entity tune content there, so they're individual, unique articles on each one of your platforms there. And again, that is a link. It's still a link, but it's not like traditional link building because it's not necessarily an external link because it's part of the entity. So that's what I'm saying. Like what Marco said is absolutely true. I think the things that move the needles the most right now is content, entity tune content, which again, as Marco said, I'm using 5 different tools too. Mine are probably slightly different than his, but we are accomplishing similar outcomes by using various sets of tools, which there may be something coming in the future from that, from us anyway. We'll talk about that at a later date, but it works incredibly well. Like I said, I've just been focusing somewhat on some link building stuff just because I haven't done that in years. And I've found some pretty good methods that are working, repeatedly, reliably. They're working over and over again. So that was a good question, though. I like that question.